In an advertisement for homeschooling your kids, Maddie Hart Soccer on TikTok has gone viral once again, this time for saying that she didn't realize being pro-choice meant you could keep the baby because she's pro-abortion. And this young woman's whole shtick, like the bit that she does in all of her posts, is that she used to be a Christian conservative, and now she is gay and progressive or whatever.
Okay, so Tim Pool has a lot of things to say about this woman, and what? Pro-choice meaning she didn't know that? What does she advocate for? Just like, oh wait, like destruction of humanity?
This is a perfect example of children raising children. And I'll break it down because I'll show you some of her videos. She's extremely crude and crass. She is trying to be a comedian. Yeah, you knew it. All of her bits, at least the one that she's got pinned to her profile about her having sex or whatever, because women do when they do comedy, I guess. Women love talking about sex. Guys do too, don't get me wrong. But I swear, the majority of male comedians will talk about things, and the majority of female comedians will talk about sex. Well, I'm going to play this video of her that's making the rounds, where she explains that she realized, oh heavens, she's pro-abortion. You see, look, I am not someone who grew up Christian conservative. At a young age, we were Christians, but we were like the liberal, urban sort of Christians at a Catholic school for a few years, and then went to public school and was Democrat voters our whole lives because the country is predominantly Christian. But we were Democrat voters in Chicago. This is an example of why you got to homeschool your kids. And I'm going to explain, but first let me play.
I always forget that being pro-choice technically means that I'm pro people also being able to choose to keep the baby. Like, I just heard about some people from my high school who like accidentally got pregnant and the girl is apparently decided to keep the baby. And my first thought was like, what? I'm like, our state is pro-choice. You can get rid of it. And I said that to like a mutual friend and she was like, well, yeah, she can also choose to keep it. I was like, oh.
You guys notice how she's not saying fetus, she's not saying, clump of cells, she's not saying anything like that. She's saying baby. Saying baby. She regards this as a human life, as a baby. And most abortionists have changed their tune on it and stopped deciding to say that, science isn't there yet. The science isn't there yet on whether or not this is a life or not. Most of them just flat out acknowledge that it is and they don't care. That's how radical things are getting.
I don't know if I'm pro-choice. I think I'm pro a lot of the people I know shouldn't be parents yet.
I agree with her to a certain extent. People like her shouldn't have kids. It's sad, really. Because her whole TikTok, she is like just ongoing bit after bit after bit about how she used to be a Christian conservative, but now she is a progressive and she's gay. And it's crude and it's, like the jokes she's making, I'm not going to put it on YouTube. It would get age restricted. She overtly talks about like adult activities, right? And I guess that's the shtick she's going for. She got 100,000 followers, good for her on TikTok. She got less on Instagram. I think TikTok's fake, by the way, and it encourages lewd and lascivious behavior. I think TikTok is a weapon to shatter the minds of young people, being wielded by foreign interests, and that's why they don't want to sell it off. But let me show you some of the stuff she has. Like, she did a bit where she says Fox News is unserious. She makes fun of Matt Walsh. She does this bit where she's like, I was joking, Matt Walsh, not realizing that Matt Walsh was also joking. Matt Walsh made fun of her for using the word befell incorrectly. But she's got a whole bunch of these things. Let me see if there's one. Once the seed is planted, there's no stopping it. She has one where it's, where is it? I don't even, like, she has one where it's like the Christian conservative to queer pipeline. She has one about, here you go, Pride Month, off to the parade. Devout Christian kid to queer adult pipeline. It's like a big component of her story. Now, why is that? Why is it that this woman who was raised Christian conservative, who outright says in the video she actually protested gay marriage, how is it that she is now a woke, progressive, low-order thinker? I will say this to you, young woman, Maddie Hart. You're what's called a low-order thinker, a low-level thinker, or a first-order thinker. And this means that your perspective on reality, and I don't even know if you can grasp this, okay, to be completely honest. It means that your perspective on reality is, how would I describe this? Limited in depth. So I'll try to explain a little bit more. And this is not meant to be insulting. I mean, I don't know that she could actually comprehend deeper thought. Most of these woke progressives can't. But it explains how she goes from Christian conservative protesting to woke liberal. She never really understood in the first place. Some people just can't. I don't know how you teach this to kids. Perhaps there is moral and philosophical lessons that you can teach them. Technology could help. Helping people to understand. You know what I think is a real great way to actually develop higher order thinking? It's chess and strategy games, card games. Chess is good because it's actually fairly simple relative to modern strategy games. But the general idea is to the child that is learning to play. You're saying, if you move this piece here, what happens next? You need to think about the next steps and think ahead. Then something interesting happens. Through this, you can develop higher order thinking. And it's probably only among children. I mean, adults probably have an upper limit. But the way it would work is then they're not just moving the one piece. They're thinking about all the different pieces, the perspective. And for me, you know, I grew up playing Magic the Gathering. I was playing chess since I was a little kid. Memory games with my family. That stuff probably helped quite a bit. But I also read about moral philosophies when I was a teenager, a lot of it. And I read about, this is really interesting because as a teenager, I was reading, you want to approach the world thinking about, first, you want to think about how you feel. This is how you always should gauge your interactions. How do you feel in this moment with the way people are talking to you? And genuinely think about how you feel. Comprehend it. Like in your mind, say, okay, the conversation is making me upset. Why is it making you upset? That's the first thing you need to do. It can help you understand your position, your perspectives, and it gives you control over your emotions. The next thing you want to do is think about how the other person is feeling. So this is, how are they going to react to the things that I'm saying if I say it? This is the next order of thinking where you're like, if I say X, what's the outcome going to be? How will they feel based on how I feel? Next, you want to understand what is your desired outcome in this interaction? And this doesn't have to be a person. It could be a dog. It could be a rock. But you're starting to think about, why am I doing the things that I'm doing? And what is my stated goal? What do I want? What do I want? That's the first level, is what do I want and why do I want it? The next thing I understand is how are you affecting your externalities? One of the most interesting elements of this was, it said, imagine you are a person sitting across the room and you are watching your interaction with another person or in your goal. How would you feel if you were watching a person do what you do? And I'm like, wow, this is interesting.
You know, Tim Pool is actually dropping some major truth bombs right here. These are really good lines of questioning and really solid way to help people think, especially women like this. Now, this woman is famous on TikTok. She has 100,000 followers. There's millions of views, hundreds of thousands of views. I don't think for 1 second that this girl does not have something wrong with her brain. I think that it's very, very likely that her brain doesn't really process much outside of likes, engagement, comments, popularity, because that's what feeds her. Her entire personality is based off of what can validate her. Now, she was validated as a Christian conservative. Going to the protests, she was sticking up for that. She was validated. Then she goes online. Right, the COVID pandemic hits. Her entire life has become validation. And she doesn't really know who she is. She's not thinking ahead like Tim Pool's saying. And so, come to find out, she doesn't know who she is. And she's stuck at her house. She's stuck at home. She's not allowed to talk about certain issues because of censorship. And so what does she do? She switches up. She changes. She does the next new thing that will get her, you know, that validation that she's seeking, get her that dopamine that she's seeking. So 100% agree with Tim Pool. That's all I have to say for now. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, leave a comment down below. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.